let me pick up on what you said. Yes, 5G is the now generation, but as we saw on your slide, we now have an important window of opportunity to influence what the future of mobile generations will be like. And I'm very pleased to be here today to tell you a little bit about the approach that we've taken here in the UK to utilize that window of opportunity. So let me start by making you aware that we very recently, early this month, in fact, we published a very important document, the Wireless Infrastructure Strategy. That is our comprehensive plan for the telecom sector in the coming years. It comes with 150 million of new funding announcements, and of relevance to this particular forum, it includes up to 100 million of R&D funding to build capability in future telecoms, including for 6G. And as part of the wireless infrastructure strategy, we have also published the UK 6G strategy, and that's represented on the diagram on the left. It is made up out of 6 pillars of activity that we will take forward in the coming years to make sure that 6G will meet the societal and the economic goals that we would like to see fulfilled. I'm not going to, in this panel, in this session, I will not go into too much detail on the UK 6G strategy. My colleague, Louise Lancaster, will be doing that at a session on Wednesday as part of this conference. But what I would like to talk today about is actually the approach that we have taken in contributing to the global 6G vision that's being developed in ITUR. And apologies, I will be calling it vision because I have not quite clocked that it is a Snorkel framework. I only heard that about an hour ago from Ayman. So I'm sorry if I'm a little bit behind the curve here. So I'll be calling it the global 6G vision. So we felt it was, we as DCIT, we felt it was very important to contribute to the global ITUR vision, because it will set the tone for future standardization and for future R&D developments around the globe. And so we felt it was vital that we engage in partnership with our colleagues in Ofcom, in partnership with our UK stakeholder communities, to make sure that ultimately 6G will meet our expectations. And on the screen here, we've got just a few of the priorities, of our UK priorities, that we have taken into the negotiations of the ITUR vision document. So let me take you through these. I think first and foremost, we want to make sure that the vision or the framework will set out a plan that 6G will meet societal needs. And our main concern here is around coverage. We want to make sure that 6G will be able to provide reliable and consistent coverage, whatever the geographic situation, to make sure that we bridge the digital divide and connect those communities that have so far struggled to connect to mobile networks. Interoperability and standardization. So we've made it a priority as well, or we would like the vision, or we would like it to be a core principle within the vision, that interfaces within 6G are interoperable and standardized to make it possible to have multi-vendor solutions across the entire part of the network, including in the RAN. So that one possibility could be Open RAN, but there could be other possibilities as well. And we in the UK, we've taken I think I'm proud to say we've taken a leading role in the negotiations to introduce this principle in the discussions. Thirdly, on spectrum. Here our priorities are around making sure that 6G supports a broad range of options when it comes to spectrum utilization, covering both the low, the medium, and the high bands. We would like to see a range of spectrum access mechanisms, and we would also like to see the ability that 6G is able to support flexible and dynamic spectrum sharing mechanisms. Sustainability, that's also been one of our priorities in the negotiations thus far. We see 6G as an opportunity to really embed sustainability goals right at the start of the development of this technology, and to help us contribute to global net zero ambitions. So we've been asking for tangible and meaningful sustainability goals as part of the vision, in order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from the telecom sector, and help us address global warming. And then lastly, security. So we would like to see the vision document set out a clear expectation around the secure by design principle. So making sure that security is being considered right from the start of the development of 6G technologies. And we've also taken an active role in the negotiations to make sure we've got very consistent and unambiguous language around security. So I think these are our some of our key priorities. I should stress the negotiations are still ongoing, as Ayman has outlined in the previous session. So, and the outcome will ultimately be a compromise. But we are optimistic that the ITU-R vision or framework will set a positive trajectory for the development of 6G, and also helps us move towards a single global standard for 6G, in order to help us achieve economies of scale and avoid regional fragmentation in the telecom sector. And lastly, I wanted to say just a few more words around our wider engagement in telecom standardization. So what we're doing is DCIT in the space. So in terms of ETSI, we are quite active in ETSI through many multiple routes, and ETSI colleagues will know about this. And one of the examples, one of the activities we're looking at the moment is engaging with the O-RAN Alliance, who are contributing their specifications to the ETSI pass process. So that's one area of work that we're looking at the moment. On 3GPP, DCIT and its predecessor organizations have not been directly active for very long, but we now try to change that, and we'll be looking at the early development of Release 19 in the coming months, particularly through following the work that's happening there in SA1. And on ITU, again, we as the UK, we've been very active in the ITU space. Of course, Ofcom lead on ITU-R. We as DCIT, we lead on ITU-T. And just at the last plenipotentiary meeting, the UK has been elected onto a council position. And that's, of course, very good news. And it puts us into a driving seat in helping shape the future direction of the ITU. And here our priorities include making sure that a broad range of stakeholders are being involved in the decision-making that is happening in the ITU, and also helping the ITU connect better with other STOs, with industry-led STOs, to help achieve better connection and standards development. And lastly, speaking broadly about what we're doing on digital standards, we are in the process of looking at refreshing our strategic approach to digital standards development within DCIT, and hopefully we'll be able to publish something in that space in the coming months. So with that, I'd like to end and look forward to further discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.